So, die nächste speakende Person ist Alfie, Pronomen they, them, gewählt als Refi von DiversiTUM, das Diversity und Queer Referat der TUM. Die Gruppe ist von queeren Studierenden und setzt sich ein für Aktivismus, Vernetzung in der Hochschule, Hochschulpolitik. Genau. Alfie is not only the most dedicated slut, they are also the kindest and most caring person that I know. The word slay was created for them. Your Majesty, the stage is yours.
Wow. Hi, yes, I'm Alfie. Yeah, it's great to be here. First, I want to acknowledge everyone that was involved in organizing this, the Slutwalk. Please, a big applause for them. Like, the fact that we all have this space is just unbelievable. Well, as the motto of this march is facing your inner sexist, by reflecting on my inner sexist is a constant practice that comes from the need to change the behavior and ideas that I've learned from my environment and experiences. I'll start by saying that my inner sexist contradicts my gender identity, because sexism heavily relies on the beliefs that there are only two sexes, two genders, and that one of them is superior to the other. With all of that come the immutable gender roles, which in turn go hand in hand with patriarchal structures.
If I don't face my inner sexist, I can't fully confront the binary that I just don't go by. How many of us judge ourselves or others through the lenses of cultural values that lead to internalized oppression? Many women are taught they ought to be small and quiet, to not take space, to be moderate and discreet. Men, on the other hand, are taught to be strong and to not tap into their emotions, because boys don't cry.
Quoting the authors of The Ethical Slut, some people believe that being a slut makes you fair game for violence and other forms of oppression. So then I ask, why is the word slut used as a slur, mainly referring to women who have too much sex? But when a man does it, he is the man, the Casanova. No matter how much I read or think about it, it still makes absolutely zero sense to me. But at the same time, it also silently reminds me of home. I was born and raised in Venezuela, a beautiful country in South America. Nevertheless, for the past 20 or so years, we've been under an authoritarian regime, a dictatorship. And, you know, they prohibit free press. They meet protest with violence, with jail, with torture, exile, or murder. I've learned that something all dictatorships have in common is that they strip people from their tools, like access to education and financial security. When you're too worried about making it through the day, finding enough to eat, not knowing what will happen tomorrow, because tomorrow is definitely not guaranteed, you cannot question what the regime does. If they strip you of enough privileges, they strip you of your autonomy. So many parallels can be drawn by the way women have been oppressed throughout the centuries in many cultures. How are you supposed to question the unfair standards you're held up to if you can't make a living for yourself, if your sexuality is demonized, if access to safer sex, birth control, abortions, or even fucking HPV vaccines is limited, if available at all, if your own power and potential is weaponized against you? Another question that I ask myself: what assumptions have I made about how my sexuality should be? We as society are so keen into accepting cisgender men as the default that we question or even go as far as denying the bisexual experience. Because a bisexual man is only trying to hide he's gay, and a bisexual woman is going through a phase before finding the right man. And that's how far the scope goes. So all my gender non-conforming folk, all intersex people, we're not even in that equation. Sexism is also deeply embedded in the way that I have sex. People that have a certain body type, that act in a vulnerable, feminine way, are expected to play a certain role. The same goes for people who tend to show, let's say, a more dominant character. You know, the top, bottom dynamics. The way I can explore my and other people's bodies or experience different sexual practices becomes significantly limited. By questioning power dynamics and roles in relationships, I can break the limited mold of the heteronormative experience and redefine what it means to be in love, to have sex. I take all the things I've been shamed for, my sexual practices, my love languages, and I use them to empower myself and the people around me. I use them to rage against the sexist system. We sluts are seen as destructive, the end of the traditional family. We're seen as amoral, stealers, untrustworthy. But we're nothing if living to our authentic selves, bearing so much potential that makes all Puritans so afraid. I am a slut, and I am fucking proud of it. I am thankful for all of those who have paid the way for me to be standing here, for us to have such a space. To all the trailblazers, to all predecessors, I thank you. The gay liberation movement, the suffragettes, they all clawed their way so we could have a chance. And from the work we have to build upon. Because as Kimberly Crenshaw said, all inequality is not created equal. For some context, Crenshaw was the law professor who coined the term intersectional feminism. What is the point of facing your inner sexist if it only helps white cisgender women? As I confront my inner sexist, I recognize other factors like class systems, racism, and oppression across generations, which is why we have to give indigenous, Black, and people of color, particularly women, the voice they much deserve but have been denied, since they are not the problem, but part of the solution. I quote, "Those who are most impacted by gender-based violence and by gender inequalities are also the most impoverished and marginalized. Black and brown women, indigenous women, women in rural areas, young girls, girls living with disabilities, trans youth, and gender non-conforming youth," unquote, explains Mahandra Rodriguez Acha, a youth leader and climate justice advocate from Peru. If equal and fair is not equal and fair to everyone, then no one is really free, and then I don't really want it. So I implore you, while you face your inner sexist, also face the different repressive structures that overlap and chain us all. Stand up for everyone who experiences discrimination. Use your privilege for the greater good. Empower those and yourself around you. Rage and fight for everyone that has been, is, and will be oppressed. Be the freak that they all think we are, because we are. We're not normal, and hell, we don't want to be. We take pride in how we are. And always, always remember to be your greatest slut self. Thank you.